Doom is awesome. Everybody loves Doom, and I don't even care if that statement is an overgeneralization. Doom is seriously great. It's so great that with its release, people have been clamoring for more old-school shooters. Wolfenstein The New Order is getting the sequel it deserves, Quake is getting revived, and looking at Steam, you won't be hard-pressed to find modern shooters made in the style of 90s run-and-gun glory days. And while it's easy to remake such classics as Wolfenstein, Doom, and Quake, it's also easy to forget about other shooters that were made with the same spirit. Anyone else remember Heretic? When I was younger, I played about as much Heretic as I did Doom. It's a solid game. The weapons are mechanically solid and creatively conceived, the enemies are varied and fun to kill, and the implementation of items makes it stand out from Doom itself. Heretic is pretty good, and I think if it got a modern treatment and spotlight like the most recent Doom project did, we could have a pretty solid standout rebooted franchise for a studio. But who would take the project? Okay, so there is a studio which is already owned by Bethesda, and this might be controversial to say, but I think they need something to spark gamers' interests again. Arkane Studios. I didn't care much for Dishonored, but I was late to that party. I didn't play it until it became free for PS Plus members on the PS3 a little over a year ago, so I admittedly never really gave it a fair shot. People really seemed to like it though. It balanced melee combat with firearms pretty well, and it integrated unique fantasy elements admirably. But it seems like their last two projects, Dishonored 2 and Prey, left some gamers and critics divided. Some liked both titles, some hated both titles, and some found one or the other lackluster. I haven't played either one, so I am certainly not someone who can weigh in on the quality of those games, but I think it's fair to say that when looking at sales figures and social media surrounding the games, Bethesda probably had higher hopes. So how does this tie back into Heretic? Well, Raven Software, the guys who developed the original Heretic, don't seem to be doing much these days, at least nothing front-running. Since the disappointing sales figures of Wolfenstein and Singularity in back-to-back years, the company has been assisting with individual components of Call of Duty games. So if they own the intellectual rights to Heretic, it probably wouldn't cost much for another developer to acquire them. Cue Bethesda and Arkane Studios. Let's let id Software focus their attention on the next Doom game, but until then, if Arkane wouldn't mind rebooting Heretic in the same vein as Doom 2016, and Bethesda gave it the marketing and distribution Doom got as well, then that would just be swell. No, really, this can work. Let's break it down. Okay, before I get any further, I am hereby declaring publicly that I in no way, shape, or form believe that I am entitled to these intellectual rights. These ideas can be used by anyone, and I will make no effort to declare that I am entitled to credit for them, either artistically or commercially. So, if by some long shot somebody does decide to remake Heretic, and incorporates any ideas that I'm about to present in this video into the finished project, I am forfeiting my right to take any legal action against them. I want to play badass games, but I'm no game developer. So, using the id Tech 6 engine and the primary gameplay format of Doom 2016, what if you take that and give it a Heretic skin, tweaking various aspects along the way? Alright, so one of the defining factors of Doom was the variety in weapons and the freedom to use them differently with the alternate fire modes. If we take the weapons in Heretic and imagine different ways to use them, it would be pretty simple to come up with the same freedom and variety found in Doom. What if in the place of combat drones, you could find Tomes of Power, and activating one gave you special abilities for your weapons in the form of alternate fire modes? I can imagine the Elven Wand performing the same way as the original game, similarly to a pistol, but an alternate fire mode functions like a shotgun blast. Hold down alternate fire, and each shot takes up 5 rounds, releasing a blast of golden energy in an outward cone that delivers less damage at further ranges, but much greater damage point blank. And maybe another alternate fire idea would make it function basically as a lightning gun. Using it releases a laser-like stream of crackling energy that burns through ammo quickly, but deals a lot of damage quickly too. And ooh, man, do I seriously love the ethereal crossbow. Just keep it the way it is. And the alternate fire modes can be firing one single bolt that homes in on enemies, which explodes upon impact, and acidic bolts, which can pierce through armored opponents and obstacles. That'd be pretty cool. The Dragon Claw can serve as your basic fantasy machine gun, and one alternate fire mode can function as a lightning-based stun attack, while the other alternate mode fires single shots which explode upon impact, sending Morningstar-like shrapnel in all directions. The Hellstaff could look seriously badass. Give the runes the same basic look as the bright, demonic designs found in Doom 3 and Doom 2016, accompany it with disembodied ambient screams of lost souls and suffering, and you've got yourself one seriously cool weapon. The first alternate fire mode can be taken directly from the Tome of Power in the original game. Single shots which can cause burning blood rain to fall from the sky. Metal. And the second can launch what would basically be lost souls from Doom, flying flaming skulls which home in on enemies and latch on, distracting the target and causing bleed damage. With the Phoenix Rod, this is your rocket launcher. It launches explosive balls of fire which deal massive damage in a straight line. The first alternate fire is obviously a deadly close-range flamethrower, and the second serves as a hit-scanning immolation ability. Set all nearby enemies on fire with a snap, which deals damage over time and makes them run around in a panic. Oh, and the gauntlets of the Necromancer let you drain the life force from an enemy with a grapple attack. Okay, sure, it's just a reskin of the chainsaw from Doom 2016, but instead of a spinning bladed chain, it's an unholy necromantic black magic which makes enemies rot to death instantly. Okay, so that's the weapons. I would even be up for seeing the weapons from the Hexen games implemented for more options and more variety. That's the convenient thing about fantasy settings. You can justify pretty much anything with magic. So any way you can imagine ending the lives of demons, devils, and aberrations, you can turn it into a weapon. So let's move on to the monsters. The gargoyles can have animations and behaviors similar to that of the imps. Quick, weak, and more dangerous in high numbers, but give them flight, and the methods the player can use to hunt down and kill them allow for more freedom of play. Now with the golems, this is where we can have some more variety. We can have the clay golems, as is from the original game, but we can also throw in flesh golems. This can allow shambling, scrawny, zombie-like enemies and giant Frankenstein-esque abominations. And maybe mud golems and things like that can allow creepy, shape-shifting enemies. As for the undead warriors, or death knights as I called them, it should be pretty easy to take a similar character model and set of animations derived from the Doom 2016 Revenant, and give it crazy melee abilities with that ethereal axe. The wizards, or disciples of Disparal, need more abilities for sure. For enemies that are supposed to be magic users, they should definitely have more variety with their attacks. I'm kind of thinking you can tweak the summoner from Doom, keeping the teleport, but changing up the way their ranged attacks work. That should make them pleasantly creepy. I even recall reading an article in Game Informer long before Doom 2016 came out, where they described an enemy that was a hooded, sorcerer-like figure that summoned demons. I'm pretty sure this ended up being the summoner, but that old character model might still be in a hard drive somewhere. The Iron Lich can also be tweaked. Give it more spells and more abilities, but I think the idea of it being a massive, slow-moving piece of cold iron with lots of hit points is something that makes it stand out. And those jagged features and black and red eyes make them terrifying to stumble upon when I was a kid. And I imagine the same treatment the Cyber Demon got in 2016 getting applied to the Molitar. That'd be pretty awesome. Alright, so we have weapons and monsters, but what about the items? One of the defining qualities of Heretic was the use of special items. The quartz flasks are handy to heal yourself when you're backed into a corner, and being able to make yourself invisible with the Shadow Sphere would be pretty cool. You can make the time bombs of the Ancients work as replacements for the grenades, and just use the grenade button as an item use button. But the Mystic Urns would make a really handy replacement for the saving throw rune token from Doom 2016. I would be curious to see if they could make the Wings of Wrath work. Maybe the way they work is just holding down the item use button makes you move upward and you fall normally. That would make them viable and handy without making them too clunky, I think. I think. And we could see more original items for sure. Commenters, sound off in the comments below. Okay, but hang on. This is a lot to soak in, and this is probably already a longer video than most people want to sit through, so I'll stop here. I do have some ideas as to the plot, the character of Corvus, themes, setting ideas, and a way to replace the glory kills, and more specific reasons as to why Arkane Studios would be a good contender to helm this project. So if you want me to elaborate on those ideas with another video, let me know by saying so in the comments. But let's make some goals. 500 views and 20 likes will motivate me to make a part 2 to this. So until next time, happy demon killing!